Okay, I'm gonna start with a very unpopular opinion, but at least we can get this out of the way, and if you're not happy, you can close this video immediately. Okay, here we go. I love Fallout 4. You know what? And I'm gonna make people even angrier. I think it's actually my favorite Fallout game. And yes, I played Fallout 3, I love New Vegas, but I don't know, Fallout 4, man. I don't know, I'm a loot goblin. I love building settlements. I spent hours modding the game in the past to turn it into a giant settlement tower defense minigame. I know, don't judge me. Anyways, my point is, even if Fallout 4 has a ton of issues and a lot of things I completely understand people not enjoying, it actually provides a very good base, a very good source material to build on top of it with mods. And that's the reason, like many other Bethesda games, that you have such prolific modding scenes. You have a great open world to explore, a giant interactive storyline, and hundreds of locations and side quests. It's a bit arcadey, and the gunplay is meh, but there's actually a lot of potential. There's always been mods trying to some extent to bring the Stalker vibe to Fallout, but I always ignore them, as in my mind it's not really possible, and what's the point? Just play Stalker if you want the Stalker atmosphere. But still, Lost World caught my attention recently. I didn't play Fallout in ages, so I decided, hey, why not? Let's give it a shot. To make it short, Lost World is a giant mod pack for Fallout, in the same vein as Gamma is for Stalker Anomaly. And I'm picking Gamma here as an example for a very important reason. Because yes, they're both two giant mod packs consisting of almost 300 something mods fine-tuned to all work well together, but exactly like Gamma, it's not just some tactical stuff slapped on top of the game. It's more of an experience, a very specific gameplay designed to make you enjoy the game the way the dev envisioned, so it will focus on specific mechanics and have a heavily modified economy, crafting and looting experience. And just like Gamma, you're gonna like the changes or not. And if you don't, there's hundreds of other options for you out there. Okay, so let's dive right into it. What do we find in this Fallout Lost World Stalker mod pack that brands itself the ultimate hardcore survival mod list, total conversion, overhaul, whatever thingy? Well, the first thing you're gonna notice are the graphics and visuals. The game looks bleak and gritty, the atmosphere is honestly on point, and personally I was hooked by the look of everything immediately. We're very far from the colorful vanilla Fallout, and it's a great thing. It truly feels like a grim, desolate and depressing post-apocalyptic world. The redesigned lighting is beautiful too, and much more immersive. So in terms of visuals, not gonna lie, I was really pleasantly surprised and absolutely loved it. And I was not expecting much, but the game actually runs pretty well and has a really good performance. If you can run vanilla Fallout 4, you can run this mod pack without too many performance issues, which is pretty amazing in itself. Especially when you see the crazy amount of new textures, trees, vegetation, fog and weather system and so much more, it's honestly very well optimized. It can feel a little bit too dark at times, and I found myself playing with my flashlight turned on very often, but I guess that's part of the experience. You can customize the ENB preset for most of the visuals to your liking anyway, if there's something you don't like. I personally kept everything vanilla, as I think it's important when you try to review something to not be changing stuff around, but if you want to, it's definitely an option, and the dev made a whole video explaining you step by step how to do it, so absolutely no complaints here. You can customize the visuals as much as you want. In true Stalker fashion, you will find that radiation is now everywhere and is much more deadly than what I remembered. You will have to wear decent protection at all times, and some missions will just be impossible if you don't have a good protection and meds. You will also need to have a gas mask on the ready with clean filters when an emission hits. Well, they're more like big radiation storms rather than a true Stalker emission, but you get my point. And to be fair, look at this, they look pretty amazing. The mod pushes you to have a more nomadic lifestyle, to live directly off the land, in a way. You can still build settlements, but they will be very basic and not a central part of the gameplay anymore. Just a place to store some extra loot and do some crafting if needed, but that's it. It's actually a part I don't personally enjoy, as I said I love the settlements building, but I mean I get the idea. You are pushed to live on the road, in a way, and to help with this you can now set up camp when you need to rest, when you need to cook, you will have a portable workstation to do all your upgrades and crafting. You will also find safe houses a little bit everywhere that you can use as temporary bases when you are on the road. The economy has been heavily modified too. You can still buy and sell everything, but you will quickly realize that you're not gonna get rich easily as you used to be, and you will have to craft and gather most of the materials, medicine and ammo you need, which motivates you to explore as much the world as you can. Hunting and gathering has a very important aspect now too, and there's some new mechanics around it, like butchering and skinning the animals and mutants you kill. You will get some meat you can cook, but more importantly, a ton of different resources and ingredients used for crafting. The combat is still the arcadey Fallout 4 gunplay though, can't really get away from it. There's a little bit more recoil, weight and sway added to your weapons. It feels a tiny bit better than vanilla, but it's still not great. And the VATS mechanics has been completely removed to promote real gunplay and immersion, which kinda makes sense. The good part though is that you will have a ton of new weapons to find and try, which is always exciting. Melee weapons, pistols, rifles, snipers, all very high quality and enough diversity for everyone's taste. They're much more modern overall than the junky Fallout vanilla weapons, and they fit very well with the spirit of the mod. They're all highly modular, so you can upgrade and modify any aspect you want. This part I really like, as grinding for new perks and looting and exploring to get new mods for your weapons is always like one of my favorite parts. Same thing for armors, where you will have a ton of new things to find, to try out, craft, customize to your liking. Power armors have not been removed, but let's say nothing is made to encourage you using them, and I personally think it's a good thing. Even in vanilla Fallout, I never used them as they always felt too OP and clunky. You will meet a lot of new enemies. I'm not gonna reveal too much as to not spoil the fun, but it's nice to have a bit of variety. Well, it's nice, but nothing is really stalkery though, and it feels a little bit random. Yes, some dogs are called pseudo-dogs and stuff like this, but none of them really feels like Stalker, so don't get your hopes too high if that's what you're looking for. I was hoping a bit more on that part, and it's a little bit disappointing. There is a new ballistic, armor and limb system, and you will quickly realize that you die very easily, which makes sense because like you play in survival difficulty, and you need to be well protected. Combat is hard, but pretty well balanced and fits well the hardcore survival aspect, so no complaints here. The healing system is pretty easy and straightforward to get, and you will find your trusty stim pack whenever you need, and a ton of new medical items. The main vanilla questline is still here, and you can do it if you want to, but on top of it there's a ton of new things, NPCs and items to find, and actually this part is a little bit influenced by Stalker and Metro in a way. A lot of new locations have been added, mainly underground in new tunnels and sewers. Overall, you have a lot more to discover and explore, and a ton of new quests, which is really nice. You can completely ignore the vanilla questline if you want to, and still have a ton of new things to do, and you can really play the game as an open sandbox, free to do whatever you want, which is actually nice. So, all in all, what to say? It's a very good and strong mod list, and a nice survival mode. I like the gameplay, being slow but not too grindy, and it's very enjoyable overall. At least for me, I think the main point is that it was a nice way to get back into Fallout 4 and see where the modding scene is these days. But it's still Fallout, don't get me wrong. It might be called a Stalker mod, and it can feel a tiny bit sometimes like Stalker, I guess, mainly in the general atmosphere, but overall it's still very much Fallout in every way. If you don't get to hang up on the Stalker branding and want to get back into Fallout 4 and trying something different at the same time, definitely give it a try. If you're looking for literally Stalker inside Fallout 4, yeah, you're gonna be disappointed and you should skip this one. But don't get me wrong, it's a great mod pack and a ton of work has been put into it and it really shows. It's really impressive to see how good Fallout 4 can look after all these years and how much content has been added to it with the work of the modding community.